Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Freddie Stevenson from Trials of Triumph, and I just want to say thank you to everybody that supported last week's episode with Travis Doodles. And we got another dope episode coming up today with Derrick Brooks, who needs no introduction, but we got a little twist on it. We brought you DeCalon Brooks as well. And this one is special because DeCalon is one of the few people that can say that he played under Coach Jimbo Fisher, Coach Willie Taggart, and Coach Mike Norvell at Florida State. But first, I'd love to take the time out to thank our sponsor, Westlake Management, Garnet and Gold, Al Buchanan Strong, Cross Country Mortgage, Indy Atlantic Films, and Concord Coffee. But that's enough of me talking, man. Let's get into this episode right now. All right, man. So I appreciate y'all taking the time out of y'all busy schedule to pull up on me. Got a ton of respect for both of y'all, being Noles and just being able to sit down with you guys, man. So I wanted to do something unique. You know, he reached out to me. I know I reached out to you a while back, but when he came to me with the idea, I thought it'd be dope to have a father and son together. You know, just hear the story, especially
for sure.
You know, for yourself, because a lot of people don't talk about that dynamic. You know, growing up, you know, being the son of a legend, you know, having all that pressure. So I wanted to hear your story uniquely, and then hearing from you being a father along that journey, you know, of course, being a legend. But I want to start out with you, man.
I want to hear it too.
going to Florida State, man. You could have went to a lot of other schools.
Yeah.
What was it that made you go to Florida State? Of course, you know, your father being a no, but, you know, a lot of people, sometimes they want to carve their own path.
Right.
For you, what was it that made Florida State stand out to you?
Well, for me, during my recruiting, Florida State, like, I was recruited. I was always a Jimbo recruit, and I had Coach Darcy, Coach Odell, Coach Mario, Coach Kelly, and despite him being at Florida State and doing everything that he did over there, they made sure that wasn't the case with me. Like, he had his time over there. Is your journey right now? You know what I mean? So when I was getting recruited, my first name is Derrick. Nobody called me Derrick. Like, they all knew that. Even my parents, they called me DeCalon, you know, and that's what separated Florida State from the other schools. And a big thing that my parents did for me was that they made sure that I make my own footsteps. So, like, no matter where I went, so I was gonna do what I wanted to do. It didn't have to be football. Could have been another sport. Could have been another career. And for me, it wasn't a whole lot of pressure because they didn't put pressure on. And even when people talked to him, he didn't err on the fact that, oh, I'm a junior, like I'm my own person. Yeah. So that was real big and why I chose Florida State.
I want to talk to you now because you see so many times where the parents like, all right, I went to this school. I want to make sure all my kids go to that school. Why was it so important for you to make sure that he carved his own path?
One, it allowed me to enjoy the journey of being a parent alongside my wife Carol, and as much sacrifice as she made when I was playing and raising the kids, she needed to be just a bigger part of this process too. So I used to tell all these coaches, hey, you're recruiting the wrong parent. You know, you need to be talking, you know, more so to her. And that's how I went about it is that now, yes, was I there to ask questions? Yes. Were I there to be a part of it? But it was always from day one, as DeCalon said, you know, by being called by his middle name. That's his own identity. Yes, it's a junior behind it, but very few people know that because they call him that. And that was is a silly, maybe way of going about it, but it's so important because that's the first steps in establishing your own identity. And, you know, being a legacy recruiter, you know, that's the first time I'd ever heard that when they were recruiting him. And to be honest with you, I actually thought he was going somewhere else. I did. I actually thought he was going to go to Iowa State under Coach Campbell or Willie Taggart here at South Florida at the time. because they came in hot and heavy in terms of recruiting them and give credit to Coach Dawson, man. He wasn't backing down. But when they talked to DeCalon, it was about that. It was nothing about what Derrick Brooks did and was. It was about the opportunity for him to be what he needed to be. And Freddie, I just asked DeCalon one question. I said, I don't care what university you go to, University of Antarctica. Where do you want to go to school if you never played a down of football? That's the question that you need to ask, and that's the question that I'm always ask you, because that's a reality. And that's a decision that I made my decision on, and I thought it was extremely important for that to be part of his processes. Ask yourself that question. If I never played a down of football, where would I want to go to school? I say, and let that be a guiding light that'll lead you to whatever decision you make.
This next question is for both of y'all. You know, have an opportunity to not only live out your dream, but do it at your father's alma mater. What was that feeling like, being able to run out that tunnel every Saturday? And for you, seeing him do that, what was it like for you witnessing it?
Well, the first time, I didn't want to do it. Like the first games I went to, I just want to go up in the suite. I tried to do the stand thing. That didn't work. That was like, I was like, look, it's so what. Yeah, I love all our friends. I love them to death, but I couldn't enjoy. So I said, you know what, man, I just can't do it. So, then Coach Fisher was like, nah, Derrick, I want you to come down on the side. I'm like, man, I don't want to be in the way. I just want to enjoy, He's like, nah, we want you to be a part of it. So I did the best I could to look at it from the lens of, as a parent, I get to experience this with my son. And I was real nervous, man, the first game. I was nervous like I was playing, running out the tunnel, with him on the team, man. I was like, damn, do I get in front of him? Do I get behind him? What do I do? People think that's so silly, but it is. I'm like, what do I do? I don't want to get in the way,
Get off to the side.
Yeah, they was getting hyped, so I'm getting hyped, it was one of those. So
It's natural.
It was just... But I ended up having fun doing it. So I found my routine, after obviously he ended in redshirted, but once he started playing second, I found my routine. Like, hey, I would come down, be a part of the recruiting processes that coach was asking me to. And I kind of do that during the first half. But then the second half of the game, I go upstairs and be a parent and watch from that lens. So that was pretty much my game day routine when he was playing.
Okay. What about you?
Nah, running out that tunnel was something crazy. And it's real different because I was always around it when I was a kid, but when you actually playing and you see that spirit planted and running out that tunnel, like it was surreal for me, and it's a feeling I really can't even put into words. So like it was just amazing to now, as a kid growing up, seeing it, not being a part of it. Like it was just a surreal moment for me.
Yeah, people can't explain that, and it was. Well, I remember one time, I think it was your sophomore, junior year. We coming out, we getting ready to play. I forgot who it was. Man, it was hype. And, he turns to me, man. I turn to him, man, and we just do the chest bump. It's like we hit each other like it was hype. But people don't, they don't understand. And I know many men that have been on here have talked about the tradition of what, that pregame and the spear, and that means. And it is something, a feeling that you got to be part of it. I know Miami has a smoke, Clemson running down there. Everybody has their own routine that university has, that as players, you have to be part of it to experience it, because it is an emotion and it is something that you can't explain. And that's what I miss, man. God, and I'm in it with my current job, and I get it. But there's nothing that can replace that, man, when you go in there. And it's hard to explain for someone that's only going to be there 6 months.
Yeah, right.
Versus someone that's going to be there for years. And I just hate that these young men miss out on that, because it is something special.
I wanted to kind of dig into this just because Florida State is what it is because of what guys like yourself, did to make it that program, build that standard. So I wanted to ask you about your time at your Florida State, ultimately coming in as a safety and having to switch to linebacker. Do you feel like starting off as a safety gave you an advantage once you had to make the move to linebacker?
I don't know.
Yeah, tell that story.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. Coach Andrews recruited me, and I guess that was our personal connection that I really had a chance to get to know him and Miss Diane, and his family from day one. That he recruited me out of Washington High School, and I think they had a plan the entire time with me. They was, telling me about strong safeties and all these things. But I played linebacker in high school, man. I was, God blessed me to, be what, every award you can imagine, whatever stars back then, I was that guy. So for me going in, I was just making plays in high school, but I was always around the line of scrimmage. So fast forward, I get there, I'm 100 and soaking wet, man, probably 175, 180, and I am playing strong safety. So in the spring practice, man, coach kept telling me, Derrick, you got to stay back on the play action pass. Because we played a lot of cover 4 then. Y'all was either jet 9, jet 4, quarter halves or quarter. So I'm like, man, I just can't do it. I can't do it. Because every time I come making plays at the line of scrimmage. So, man, we're getting in one practice and Coach Andrews is on me. It's legendary. I know you got a G-rated podcast, but man, this man break you down with some words that was imaginable. So he tells me, all right, Derrick, man, I'll get sick of you in this play action pass. So I go and win a scrimmage, and I go up, man, and it's a play action pass, man, with a post behind it, and I drilled a tailback. Man, I forgot who, I think it was Marquez Smith who came in with me. I laid him out. As I turn around and I'm looking back up, man, I just see the ball going in the post, score a touchdown. Coach Andrews running up there, that gum. Derrick Brooks, and run straight down to the Greyhound bus station. Get you a one-way ticket to Pensacola, Florida. Tell them to charge Coach Andrews' credit card, and I'll FedEx your belongings tomorrow. Don't come back. I say, man, so I go to the dorm. I'm like, this man just told me in front of everybody, and I set out the rest of practice. So I'm like, man, this man is crazy. So I called my mom. I said, Mom, I don't know about this Coach Andrews dude. She said, what? I said, man, this man just told me go to a Greyhound bus station and tell these people to charge his credit card with a one-way ticket to Pensacola if I ever get beat on the play action pass. My mom said, you know what, son? Don't get beat on the play action pass. She said, because ain't no more room back here, so don't get beat on the play action pass. So, man, I go, man, and the next day, but everybody loved Coach Andrews for this. The very next day, he's the first one there to greet me at breakfast, to sit me down. And just as much as he tore me down, he built me back up. And he saw, Freddie, where I started gaining weight during the season. And I'm making plays because I was a nickel linebacker behind Kirk Carruthers. So when I got in the game, I was making plays at linebacker. But, man, halfway during the season, hey, Derrick, step on the scale, out of the blue. That thing said 201 pounds. He said, hey, stay in Coach Burnham's room. Don't ever come back in my room again. I'm like, man, this man had kicked me out of his room. What did I do now? So I said, Coach, what did I do now? He said, you did everything we wanted you to do. You finally got to 200 pounds. Wow. He said, you finally got to 200 pounds. It just took you 3 more weeks than what we thought.
That's great.
So their plan was to move me to linebacker the entire time. I just needed to gain the weight. So I moved playing wheel linebacker, and man, I was there ever since. But it wasn't an easy journey now because there was other guys that were ahead of me going into that spring. I started out that spring, I was playing nickel, but in the base defense, man, I was 4th string going that spring. And I just hit those mat drills like, hey, I got to take somebody's job. And, you know, obviously we done seen the podcast where people talk about those mat drills, but, you know, that was kind of my introduction, man, into linebacker. Was doing that season, getting to 200 pounds, but literally that January after the season, man, I went into that spring in the mat drills with the mindset, ain't no way I'm going to be fourth team. Whoever, if these three guys hold me off, that means our team going to be better because I'm here to compete. And I hit them mats, man, like, man, I was, they'll tell you, man, I was something else on the mats. I look forward to that spoon knocking on the door. I heard, you know, everybody here, I was like, okay, let's go. It's time for me to take somebody's job. I'm going to be on the mat. Well, everybody throwing up, all right, let's go. I'm going to roll in it because you ain't get, you know, back then, you know, they get breaks. During my time, man, it wasn't no breaks.
No, you said all the time it was a water break or somebody injured and you ice cube.
Man, you was in somebody trying to get out. So I don't know if you heard this when people tell you about it. So I told DeCalon one time, I said, DeCalon, man, these 21 minutes, they get 24 now or whatever it is. They got to have a minute break. We ain't have no breaks. I said, man, boy, them 14 minutes on each station, the only time you hope to see Randy Orvis with somebody getting hurt, he had ice cubes in his hand. And he'll slip you one ice cube as you trying to walk in or fall down or something. And I remember one time, man, he was walking, I saw him have some, man, I fell down just so he can come over there and lean on me and drop an ice cube in my hand so I could get some ice cube. But them ice cubes back then, boy, they were legendary. That's the only way you would try to get some hydration because we were not getting a break, a water break, anything. And man, them mats, man, guys that threw up on the mat, they had to clean it because they threw up on it back in our day. They had to clean it. And then they had to do the drill itself on Friday. They had to do their own mat drills because they threw up.
I want to dig deeper into that with both of y'all, you know, because at the time, both of y'all were considered undersized linebackers, always with a point to prove. And we know how brutal these spring drills are, mat drills for y'all who's tour duty or
Tour duty.
Okay. So you said that you look forward to them.
Yeah.
Everybody else is running from them, scared from them. And you look forward to the opportunity to prove yourself. Kind of dig deeper into that because I think that's something that's been lost in this era. Everybody's complaining about the work instead of embracing the opportunity. We know that it takes a lot to get to that next level. You got to embrace the work that comes with it.
Well, but back then, you know, something to prove because, you know, coming into Florida State with all the accolades that I had, you know, it was pressure. And people most times it's hard for people to understand when the expectation of someone on top to continue to achieve is just as hard, man, as somebody on the bottom that nobody know and they climbing the hill. It's just as hard. Now, yes, I've had young men coming out of Pensacola that I look to do it, whether it's Emmitt Smith, who was that guy since I was the 8th grade watching him. He's been that guy. Top performance at every level of football from the running back position. He's been able to answer the bell. Roy Jones has been able to do that in boxing. So I've had those guys looking older than me looking to like, I don't want to disappoint that legacy and let it down. So for me, Freddie, it was about proving that. It was about looking at that depth chart every single day like, hey, there's no way I'm going to stay at fourth team. But if I do, it's because I pushed those other three guys ahead of me to be their best, and we're going to be the best team for it. So to me, it was all about being the best teammate. And I was going to do that through competition or pushing the others to do it. And that's why I say I embraced that hard work. I embraced it, man. No, there's no other way for me to develop mental toughness that they were trying to build in us than to go through this. Why shy away from it? If I said I want to be the best and I said that I want to climb the depth chart, I got to do the hard things. And then they don't become the hard things. As I tell DeCalon, man, once you're in it and you're doing it, it becomes hard to those people that don't want to do it. But once you're doing it, it becomes a part of who you are. And that is, to me, is how I face mat drills every single year. I need to go ahead and keep continuing to prove myself, that I could push myself further. And it just started to become a part of who I am.
it was a lot of the same for me. Like even from mat drills to the summer, then in the fall, like I always had a mindset of when it came to mat drills or in the weight room, like I was gonna be the hardest worker in there, and that was the only way that I knew how to prove myself, how to separate myself from others. And then once I learned some more nuances of staying back after meetings, watching a little bit more film and everything like that, it just started to roll for me. And I didn't look at it as more so, oh, we got to get up for another one. Let me get my mind right. I looked at it as, all right, it's another day or tour of duty. And once I got into like my routine and just like prepping myself, like you said, like I embraced it. And then I just took that on and spread it to my teammates. Like we would legit compete. It was probably maybe a few over the course of my 4 or 5 years there that complained about competition. Like once one person got beat on a drill, they was like, nah, like I'm not about to go ahead and lose a rep. Like I'm not about to do that, because the next day they're gonna put the score sheet up in the meeting room and see who performed the best. And then if you see somebody in your position room perform better than you, then it's like, okay, no, I can't keep being at the bottom. So it's a competition aspect for me, and the weight room was smooth for me, and then it just became more of the other nuances that once I got accustomed to it, it just started rolling for me.
For over 12 years, the team at Westlake Management has been helping property owners, investors, and renters in the Lakeland Polk County area. Their commitment to quality and customer service has never been higher, which helps explain the longevity of their company. They treat each property they manage as if it was their own, and they always make sure that their renters are taken care of. They manage all types of residential properties, and if you are interested in finding a great rental in the Lakeland Polk County area, they can definitely help you out. Contact them now to get started. I wanted to ask you, as far as Bobby Bowden, we hear all the stories. I had the opportunity to meet him 2 times. What was it about him that made him such a special leader?
Oh, Freddie, from the Friday night he's spending that time with us as his personal Bible study with us. Coach Bowden, for me, it was faith, family, football. Those, as he said, that's the only time in life you're going to get 3 F's and have a passing grade in life. It was faith, family, football. And that's what he meant, for me. And as a defensive player, we didn't have the opportunity to get to know him as personal as some of the offensive players because he was an offensive coach. So we had to really enjoy those moments where he did address us sometimes by himself. So I enjoyed, the Friday night chapels that he had with us, and it was just us and him. No other assistant coaches, no other trainers. And he had that unique perspective of tying something in the game plan to something in the Bible. Clint Purvis, our chaplain, does the same thing. So they had that unique ability to do that, but hear from coach's perspective. And the other thing that made Coach Bowden special to me is Thursday nights, family nights. All the coaches, it was mandatory that they had dinner at the facilities with us. So we had a chance to meet all the coaches, wives, and kids, while we was there. So, and it was mandatory for them. And, we used that time to personally tell on all the coaches what they were doing to us. Coach Andrews just be back there listening. Boy, it's a line ready to meet with Miss Diane to tell on him. Boy, it was a line. We couldn't wait to tell on him every week. And he just looked at us like, and pointing at his watch, knowing that means gases. He just pointed at his watch. He pointed at his watch. Well, that was unique, and one of the greatest honors always to be of my life is, when his family asked me to speak at his memorial in Tallahassee. God has blessed me to have a lot of moments in my life. And when they asked me to do that, it's going to be, it was truly, truly special. All the players and people that he influenced. For the family to think enough about me to speak, pray that they couldn't ask me, man, hey, God, man, I couldn't ask for nothing better to do. So that's how much he means to me. The man I am today as a father, husband, friend, whatever, Coach Bowden set a foundation for that because how I see him live. And for him to be consistent over 70 years in this business of football, everybody's saying the same thing about him.
Yeah.
The same things about him. To be motivated in the coaching business for over 60 years of continuing to deal with all those knuckleheads. No matter what color we are, no matter where we come from, no matter our backgrounds, he was able to make us feel that he could be a father figure to all of us at whatever point in our lives. And make us coming in there as young men ready to be productive human beings. I just sat back there, and I got a lot closer with him once I left. The fact that I stayed here in Tampa, and I was on the board of trustees at the time, I spent a lot of time in Tallahassee. So I got a chance to get to know him even better on a personal level, man, whether it was playing golf with him for 9 holes and to just hear how we pushed him to be the best that he can be. Man, there's some stories that I could, fill up all your content for days, man, of just hearing him tell stories how things that he would see players do, some walk-on players, scholarship players do that you wouldn't even think of that motivate him every single day to be the best that he can be. It's amazing. He was an amazing man.
In 93, when you guys won the national championship, you guys took that loss to Notre Dame. Walk me through that process as far as responding to that loss and ultimately, being able to hoist up that trophy at the end of the season.
Man, that still bothers me, man. Me and DeCalon, we just came from a trip up, and I think he can tell you about that later. But we just came from a journey to Notre Dame where he's, this next career path for him. And man, I got pissed off driving on that campus. I had those same feelings came back to me looking at that stadium like, man, damn it, we just ran out of time. We didn't lose.
Yep.
And then their coaches was talking about it. I was like looking at Coach like, Coach, we just ran out of time. I know Bryant Young was a man that day, but we just ran out of time. We did. So it still bothers me, man, just every time I see it does. Because, and we were our own worst enemy too, man. We kind of got out of character, man. We had the green hats on the bus, on the plane ride, man. We was selling out that week. We had a confidence about us, like once we beat Miami, like nobody else could beat us. That was our national, to us, beating Miami 28-10, everybody else was just in the way. That was our national championship game for us. And that's the mindset we had. But God humbled us that day. We came out sluggish. We wasn't on top of our game. I mean, we wasn't used to playing on the field. That soggy, cause we speed fast, they big power. So it took us a minute to get used to it. And we came out rolling the second half, man. We just ran out of time. But that game was special. For me, not, the fans at our stands are kind of off, but to see that game, man, you couldn't even walk on the sideline unless you tripping over somebody from Notre Dame. And it was just, they were just on us. And, give them credit. But as big a game and loss it was the following week, they let their guard slip against Boston College and Tom Coughlin, and they upset them. And the dorm that day, because we were staying in Thomasville, and they played earlier than we did. So we was like, man, ain't no way we're going to get a chance to play them again because Nebraska and them, they're going to win out. We just lost our chance, and we were so down. And, back then, there was no cell phones and all that to tell people the scores. So when we got there to Burt Reynolds, our fan was like, Notre Dame getting ready to lose. Like, what? To Boston College? So we all run up there, man, and turn the TV on, and just in time enough to see him make that kick. And we ran out, man, in that parking lot of Burt Reynolds, man. We jumping, we celebrating. Poor NC State. Poor NC State. I apologize to them dudes before we even kicked the ball off. I think we put up 80 on them. We in pregame like, man, we sorry. We sorry. We got to send a message. We sorry.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, we did. We apologized. Like, we sorry, man. I did. I told him, like, man, I'm sorry, man. What's getting ready to happen to y'all? We sorry. And we put up, we think we beat them 80-3. So we had to send a message. We did. But that, so that was a game. And then obviously, the Florida, we knew that was going to be tough going down into the swamp. And man, they played us all the way. And then Warwick and Charlie, man, made that fourth down play. And it's God has this way of doing things because they built that bond that season. Warwick coming to Florida State after losing his mom, after she was, murdered in the line of, killed in the line of duty, and Charlie building that relationship with him, and Warwick being able to make that play for us as a freshman in that critical moment that no other offensive player, all the weapons we had, we had for that young man to connect with his roommate Charlie to win that game. And like I said, we took care of business in the Orange Bowl. Very different team in Nebraska at that time. And, we knew they was going to be tough against our offense. And Coach Mickey really preached on us, hey, this is going to be a tough game. And defensively, we're going to have to do our part to carry our offense. So we knew going into that game that we were going to have to carry the team to win it. And it just played out just like that. Scott Bentley, of all places, he makes the kick in the Orange Bowl that our other kickers didn't. And Nebraska kicker missed it, and we won it. And as I come to a conclusion about that season, one of the most iconic moments in our lives that in that locker room was Miss Ann Bowden. She got on top of the thing that Coach Bowden always stood on top of the little case thing so he can see above us. She climbed up there and she planted a kiss on him, like, congratulations, Coach. She kissed him right in front of us. And he said, thank you, baby. The bear's finally off our backs. And only us players and coaches were in that locker room to share that moment with them. Somebody never forget that. That's my favorite moment of the national championship game. Him telling us, thank you. We finally got the bear off of their backs, and she kissed him right in front of us.
So that's ultimately when, what Florida State is known for now. That's when it started, the championships and, the legacy. Going to you, being able to play at Florida State. Your first year, like we talked about, being red-shirted. Walk me through that process and how difficult it was for you, being red-shirted and just fighting to get opportunity on the field.
So that year, I got redshirted because I got through my senior year of high school, 2017, and I had an injury in an East-West All-Star game back in, I want to say it was early December, and I tore my ACL, tore my MCL. Then reverting back like January, boom. Actually, I started the rehab late December, and I just started rolling. Like, it was different for me because it was my first big injury ever. Like, I never knew that I would tear anything, something like that could happen to me. When it happened, I was just in shock. I didn't know what happened. I was just on the ground yelling, looking for somebody just to come help. And then when I started the rehab process, I knew right then and there, I was like, all right, I know I'm going to be at Florida, so I'm going to be Tallahassee that June 2017. So I got to get going. And my mind just flipped. One thing that he did for me was he brought in a pastor, a family friend, to come in and talk to us. What was
the RV?
RV, yeah.
RV Brown.
And he came in, me, my mom, him, and his wife. We all sitting at the table, and he just went over Bible verses with me and showing me how the Word of God is going to get me through this process. And ever since then, like I might have learned a true meaning of Philippians 4:13 that day, and I got it tattooed on my chest, and it just carried me throughout that whole rehab process. and my mindset was just different. Like I wanted to go and play, but one thing Coach Mario told me was that if you have a Lamborghini and it's nice when you get it, when something happen, you're not gonna go ahead and still drive it on the road if you know this is going on. You want to keep it in that garage, make sure it gets fixed, and then once it gets fixed, it's all brand new. You want to go out there and ride around in it. So that's the mindset. That's the mindset I had to have. I had a feeling that I wasn't going to play that year because when I did my first test, we used to have like these sort of like benchmark tests where we test our strength in our quad, if you had a knee injury, so on and so forth. And my surgeon was Dr. Andrews back in Pensacola. And we had to send the results up to him. Me and Jake at the time had to send the results to him, and they would communicate to us what they think. And I'm feeling good. Like I'm remember Jerry had his little pit area. I'm feeling good. Jerry would come up with these little agility drills and everything. I'm like, man, he asking me, okay, what else you need to do? Because you doing everything. I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm in the weight room squatting. And when Dr. Andrews called back down, he was like, yeah, we just don't think the numbers are where we would want them to be at this time. And that was around maybe the fourth, fifth game of the season. I was down because I felt good. Like, the only thing that's on me right now is just a brace, and that's for preventative measures. Yeah. And that was my first lesson in knowing that, hey, you can work hard, and you can feel good, but everything is on God's timing. Yeah. So that's when I was like, all right, if I'm gonna be in this pit for the rest of the season, but everything else I'm with the team, I might as well just go ahead and give it my all while I'm in rehab, while I'm outside, doing the work with Jerry, and then going and watching like 7-on-17 periods with the team. Like, I'm gonna be present. And what's crazy is that it was either Alec Eberle or who was it? It was Mario Mathis at the time, and they both was like telling me, bro, you probably one of the hardest people I've ever seen work in the pit. And I didn't even know they were paying attention to me. I didn't know guys was like paying attention to seeing like how I was working in a corner with Jerry. So that was also a sign to me where I was like, all right, what I'm doing, people are actually like paying attention to, and it really means something. So that process, it was a lot of growth through that process for where like I never thought it would happen to me. And I'm working hard, and I get to a point where all right, I feel good to where I'm told no, and then I had to sit down, I had to pray on it, and then God telling me just keep going to work, and then that spring got cleared, and so on and so forth.
Interest rates have fallen, so if you're looking for a home, interest rates have fallen. So if you're looking for the home and need a mortgage, you want to work with fellow Noles and SVP of Mortgage Lending, Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. He's been in the business for years. He has helped hundreds of fellow Noles achieve their dream of becoming homeowners, and he can help you too. Competitive rates, amazing service, and the ability to help everyone from the first-time home buyer to the seasoned investor. Shannon can do it all. So if you want a great mortgage rate, the best service, and to work with a fellow Nole, call Shannon today at 954-369-6171. That's Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage at 954-369-6171.
Yeah, and I learned a lot from him during this time. one, we made sure we came to every game as if he was playing.
Facts.
Showing that support as a parent. It wasn't about you playing, it's about us being present, going through this journey. I used to talk to him about being alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're part of a team, but your journey right now is loneliness because they don't know you. But when they be around you and they see you, let your work speak. And it did. And I had to learn a lot of things from him because I never was injured. So I can't sit here and talk to DeCalon about what it's like to overcome a serious knee injury when I never had one. So I had to ask God, hey, how do I learn from my son through this process to help him be a better man and a better human being? And show me those spaces to do that. So it was just showing up and being present. And I give a lot of credit to my wife, his mom, Carol. I mean, she was rock solid, man, with him doing this, making sure he knew he was supported and had every need that he was met. But at the same time, she challenged him, like, hey, don't feel sorry, for yourself. No, you're going to be a testimony. You're going to do this. So I'd be remiss without giving her credit for helping him through that journey. But, man, I learned so much about just me when I'm so used to being in control of things as a leader, as a captain. And here's one situation now where, you're not in control. How can I learn? How can I be here for him to help him through a journey that he's never been on? And I always just sit back and say, okay, this is his journey. This is not my journey. And that was hard for me, Fred. Let me tell you now, that was hard because, of someone that's used to being there, but now I had to sit back and, this is his journey. This is his time. Where can I have my learning moments? And I learned a lot from him about being resilient and, again, just knowing, man, you're in a lonely place, but you're never lonely. Learning that from him, going through this to see, obviously, the following spring, and he go out there and compete and have some success and start to play, start to see some of those things. And even in the classroom, man, I say, let's find a way to get a jump on something. There's nothing stopping you from that classroom. That classroom ain't got injuries next to it. It just got hours. So let's get a jump. And graduated with 2 degrees in 5 years. Yeah, I mean, he did it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, another thing on that aspect too is that my teammates, especially the guys I came in with, they were with me as well. So they let me know that they saw me when we were hanging out outside of practice, outside the facility. They treated me like I was still there, and that was big too. So, man, along with me, like, being by myself a lot of times, and then my parents' support, and then my teammates' support, like it really went a long way.
You ultimately talked about it. You were able to recover from your injury, find a role on the team as a starter. Your hard work was showing with your teammates, and you were making an impact. But for the team at the time, we were going through struggles.
Yeah.
How were you able to, not only you, the team, how did you guys deal with that, even though it didn't always show up, on the scoreboard at the end of the games?
Man, it was a lot of growing pains we had to get through, and a lot of it was us figuring out how we have to be consistent from the spring to the summer and to the fall. Like my freshman year, we went 7-6, went to a bowl game, but we knew we were more than that. And for us, really, like when I say us, I mean like that 2017 class, and not to like put or take away life from the older guys that were there. We all, like that group, we all had talks of like, we have to get this thing turned around. Like just because we young don't mean we can't have an impact. So we all had them talks at Champs, and we just went to work. Like it was still growing pains. 2017, 2018, and then around 2019, like we started to get it a little bit, but we were still missing details, man. Like it just took us to grow mentally, because physically we were there, but mentally being disciplined, locked in on little things, we wasn't there at that time. So then that's 2017, that was really much a story through what I would say until end of 2019. And top of that, we had a coach get let go. That was unfortunate, but we got through that. Then I don't want to get too far ahead, but around 2020, that's when the foundational years started to happen. So I don't know how we want me to get into that.
It's ultimately we want you to share your story, man.
It is something unique to share. 3 head coaches. You never transferred. Saw the good, the bad, and the ugly. With all 3.
That's reason why I asked that, because it's a lot that went into.
I think like Pops was just saying, man. I don't think a lot of people understand, how difficult that is to deal with 3 different personalities. And then how this game goes. It's very political. Somebody may not like you just because I'm a quiet dude. Because I'm quiet, some people may think, oh, he don't want to talk to me, kiss up to me, and it may rub in the wrong way. So you may have one person that loves your personality and the next one doesn't. So I would love you to dig into it.
Nah, so going into the season, even before that, even on Sunday, I never knew my coach would get not fired, but he would decide to go somewhere else. I'm a freshman coming in. I'm all hyped to be there, and I just got recruited to one of the top universities in the country. Bro, I'm hyped to be there.
Yeah.
And then you pair that with the season that we have, and then all of a sudden you hear rumors about Jimbo might not stay, Jimbo might go, and everything like that. I was like, wait, what y'all talking about? And then it started to get more realer. And I was a red shirt, so I want to say he told the team, I want to say a day before the game, where they were at a team meal, and I ain't hear about it till I got to the locker room on game day. I had a feeling he might, but till then, hear it in the locker room, I was like, dang, that man really gone. So going through that, a coaching change, and then Odell, not Odell at the time. It was he was a quarterback's coach, offensive coordinator. I forget his name. But he stepped in, and then we went on to finish the season the right way, winning the bowl game. So that was the most important thing. Make sure we finish the season right. And then 2018 coming in, we were hyped about Tad coming in. But for me, I was more so like, all right, he's coming in, but what are we gonna do? What is he gonna do? And I got recruited by them in high school, of course, but I haven't been around them in this type of setting. So I was more so coming at it as, all right, yeah, great. We got a good head coach, good staff coming in, and we just gonna go to work. We start to believe in it at first, and then when the summer came, we were like, man, we just gonna go ahead and put on ourselves and work, because I'm gonna be real, like a lot stuff started to seep in where it was like, all right, do we believe in this dude? Because it was a lot of hype around Tad coming in. You know what I mean? He was the first black head coach coming in to coach at Florida State, and everything was this little quote: "Do something, do something, do something." I got tired of hearing that, bro. I got tired of hearing "do something." I was like, bro, this. I'm not gonna lie. I love Coach Tad. I love Coach Tad. But at the same time, bro, I was tired of doing something. Bro.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, bro. And then, it felt like people were making more hype around like the glitz and glamour than getting into the nitty gritty, like the work we had to do. Yeah. So that very next season, 2018, it was kind of more so like we singing the same song, where it became the little stuff that got us beating ourselves, like undisciplined. And even then too, like games that we were in it and we were close to winning, like just came down to little things that just got us beat. So fast forward to 2019, we like, all right, we gonna go ahead, we gonna flip this thing around. It's gotta be a player-led team and everything like that. I knew once we had, and again, I'm not trying to be there, I'm just trying to be real. I knew when we had that luncheon, you remember that luncheon we used to have before, like it was during the after camp, right before the season. Yeah, the kickoff luncheon, where like boosters would come in, we would sign autographs and all that.
We would like to thank Howell, Buchanan, Strong for sponsoring today's episode of Trials of Triumph. They are a healthcare licensing and professional licensed law firm headquartered in the capital city of Tallahassee, with offices located throughout the state, assisting those with healthcare regulation compliance, healthcare transactions, and other healthcare defense. If you're facing legal problems, you're going to need a strategic defense. Howell, Buchanan, Strong is Florida's trusted law firm to help you with your licensing issues.
When this man stood up on the podium and said, he made an announcement and said, the white numbers are coming back, I was like, that was a little rumor that people were like unhappy about how the uniform looked. And the fact that you went up on stage and made an announcement saying the white numbers are back.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, we worry about the wrong thing. Come on, dog. Like, and then from then on, like, I was like, man, I don't know how really this season gonna go, because we had the talent. But even then, guys will tell you that before we went out that tunnel, it was a feeling like, dang, how we gonna do today? Because you want to go out there, you want to know that we gonna win. You know what I mean? But even then, like, I had a little bit of that feeling. Some guys on the team had a little bit of that feeling, and it was just not a great deal. Just like going out there knowing that for certain you gonna win this game and we gonna blow these boys out. So that 2019 season, midway after Miami lost, they let him go, and then we was like, dang, bro, all right, we gotta go through another coaching change. Like, guys went down. Like, we didn't want to go getting a third head coach. Nobody thought we would go through this. So
guys started to leave.
Yeah, guys was leaving, but I don't think that was the transfer. No, I don't think transfer portal was there during that time. But
no, they had a chance to leave because it was when we changed coaches.
Yeah, exactly. So that was that. But then Odell came in, and it felt great having Odell there. The same principles he just talked about, Coach Bowden had, and it's still in that program. Odell just made an effort and re-emphasized those same principles, those same ideals. So when we saw that Odell was doing it and Odell wasn't playing, like, if anything, and you notice, if you in that D-line room, Odell's yes mean yes and his no mean no.
Yeah.
And no matter what, he gonna hold you accountable. He had guys doing up downs during practice just because he found out they missed class one time. The whole entire season.
Yeah.
That low boy was also your punishment too. Everybody went through the low boy. Like that was just like his deal. So man, when Odell stepped in, it was kind of like a breath of fresh air for a minute, because we then went on to Boston College. We won that game, and then so on and so forth, man. Like we just kept pushing that year, and then 2020, Norvell came. I never heard of Coach Norvell until I heard this dude named Mike Norvell supposed to be coming from Memphis. Then I looked it up and I said, "Oh shoot, this man actually winning over." Had a stack of star running backs, and shoot, I never heard of him. I'm curious to see him. This man came in. First meeting, I thought this man was the weirdest dude on earth. I'm talking about, man. Like I'm sitting in my chair right here. Cause you don't want to go through another sales pitch.
Yeah.
You don't want to go through that. He's saying like we gonna work hard. That he introduced the climb to us. Everything we gonna do, like don't just say it, we gonna show it and all that. Like I'm like, okay. It sounds good. But what are we gonna do during the spring? That same spring is when Tua dude came in. And he meant what he said. Everybody in that program meant what every coach, every assistant, whatever Coach Norvell said, they were saying it's true, and they preached the same message. Especially when I met Chris Marr, like the best linebacker coach I had in college. When it came to tour of duty, that man was gonna get every up down, every he didn't let you miss a rep. If it looked bad, do it again. Like from the conditioning, from that, and then it just carrying on throughout the spring. I was like, dang, okay. Like this man actually he's standing on business. So okay, cool. And that's when you started seeing like getting rid of different pieces of the puzzle. You know what I mean? Some guys started to leave, some guys stayed. And everything like that. And not to say that, you know, those guys didn't belong here, but it showed. Like once you get somebody that's really standing on some real principles, like those who want to be here gonna be here. Those who don't, those who not going, who don't want to be here, they're gonna go. So that's exactly what happened. And everybody wants to look at that year. That was the COVID year. So you pack that on top of it, from getting tested every week, from the spring being cut short. I'm over here back in Tampa. I'm recovering from a shoulder injury, and I had to go to another facility to do my rehab and to do my workouts. We meeting on Zoom, going over plays, and then we coming back. Everything's 6 feet apart, wearing masks in the weight room. We were in the FIG, and I forget the time, but like every 6-10 minutes, we gotta rotate because we can't stay in front of everybody or it's the same person for so long.
Yeah.
So you pack that on top of getting tested every week, even during the season. It's like, dang, man, this is tough. But his message stayed the same. His message never wavered. No matter what adversity we faced, he was always consistent. And then fast forward to 2021, my last year. That year was, I call, a foundational year. Because I was thinking about it on the way over here. And I looked up the scores of the games. And I was like, dang, every game that we played, if you would have put us in these games years prior, would have probably got blown out. But those games were closer than what everybody expected. So the games that we would have stopped playing or like gave up on, we kept playing till the end of the fourth quarter. That's when it started. You really started seeing the fruits quote unquote fruits of our labor. When those games was like, nah, we're gonna like fight to the end. Like we gonna have an attitude to where we get knocked down, we gonna get back up. And it's still those little details that coach is harping on that we need to be better on. That again, we didn't execute on, we didn't capitalize. But at the same time, it was so much work that went in during that year. Jermaine Johnson was there, Kier Thomas, Pop, you saw D'Lo getting on a roll. Man, who else was there? Coop. Man, it's so many guys. Jamie, J Trav. There's so many guys, man, that were there for that foundational year is what I call it. That set us up for us having a winning season that next year, winning the bowl game against Oklahoma. And then the next year, having undefeated, be going undefeated that year. So that 2021 year, people don't really talk about that because they want to look at the record, but go into the detail of it. Like there was a lot of work, a lot of foundation that was laid to then for others to stand on. You know what I mean? So after that year, after I left, I felt good because I was in my apartment one time and I told my mom, I said, "Mom, if I leave and I'll take my coach, I just want to make sure that I left this place better than what I found it." And she told me, she was like, "Son, you did do that. One, you got your second degree. You got how many people get 2 degrees within a span of a football career? I mean, now I might be president because you get you can get 6 years in college. But during that time, it was like, man, you did that. Look what you did in the community. You did a lot. You did a lot more than you did a lot more than what you think for people for your teammates and for people that were just around the program. And you just speak on your teammates. You did a lot for that too. You were a part of that foundation. Even when I had 2021, I had meniscus surgery. After surgery, I went over to the facility. Coach Marr, Norvell, Coach Fuller, all the coaches came out to greet me, talk to me about the surgery, lifting me up. I see him and Coach Norvell having a conversation outside the car, and he goes back and he tells me, "Son, he told me that you were a big part of this team in terms of how you work, in terms of how consistent you are, and you're a big part of laying the foundation." So when I thought about all that, I was like, man, like, yeah, all right, I did my part.
Yeah, no, I want to, if you're a sports fan and you're getting tired of wearing that same worn out gear every single year, then Garnet and Gold has you covered. They have the best sports apparel on the market. From the dopest Trials of Triumph gear for all those that support the podcast to the best FSU apparel on the market. They have the best deals and gear that you won't find anywhere else. So make sure to go shop at Garnet and Gold to get the best deals on the market, the best prices, and stop wearing that dingy clothing every year. I want to see y'all shine and look good. You can't shine unless you shopping at Garnet and Gold, baby. So make sure to go to garnetandgold.com to get your gear now. Reached back out to me with this idea. I loved it just because of what you said. The 3 coaches, and just all the adversity. Like for you, man, I love watching y'all. Like you get a lot of the older generation that I hate on the younger generation. I love to see y'all win. But just seeing you going through all that adversity, and one message that God has continued to relay to me, that when I'm fasting and praying is, sometimes we'll get so caught up in the mess that we'll miss the message. And regardless of what was going on, you continue to serve. You continue to be a great teammate, great leader. And one of my favorite movies is The Karate Kid. The scene where he's Daniel's son, he's got him waxing the sand in the floor. And he didn't realize that, without him, even thinking about everything, he was teaching him the fundamentals of karate. And life works the same way. When God is moving in it, we won't understand what he's doing.
Yeah.
And now the opportunities that are being presented to you, a lot of those things that you didn't like at the time that were uncomfortable turned you into a better leader and created more value in you. Now you're more valuable for an organization, And I want to just say I'm proud of you, And I don't think, I say it all the time, as men, especially the black men, we don't say it a lot. We feel like it's soft. And I come from an environment where that's, but I done seen just about everything. But I'm big on being a man, serving Christ, and ultimately being a leader for my community. I don't care how it look. I know what I've been through. So I want to say I'm proud of you, what you stand for, and you won't get the credit, but I'm gonna show you love while you're here.
I appreciate that.
For sure, man. And just anytime, whatever it is, hit my line, bro. It's a brotherhood for a reason.
For sure.
Because I don't think a lot of times when we going through this thing, a lot of us are going to our little shell and think everybody against us. But oftentimes we ain't even really hit nobody up. They don't know what we're going through.
Right.
So if anything ever going on, I know you got your pops, but sometimes, we don't want to go to our parents. Might need a brother you want to talk to. Yeah. Hit me up, bro. I don't want nothing from you. I just want to see you win, man. But
no, that's
I just want to say I'm proud of you, bro, for sure. But I want to get into your time with Tampa. When you went to the organization, it wasn't looked at in the best light. But you got, and I say that as I grew up a Bucs fan. You guys changed that.
You can be real.
Yeah, and
we suck.
Yeah, so but you also want to say for you, man, I know you were kind of cautious going into what you were saying. I think in the world today, we've gotten away with being real and honest. Yeah. There's just like the reality. We're in the participation trophy era where everybody wants to spare people's feelings. Like there's a way to go about it as far as respect, but if we going into the Super Bowl and somebody singing the national anthem and they can't sing, what I'm supposed to tell them? You can't sing.
Right.
So don't be scared to tell your story, man. As long as you're being respectful, don't be afraid to tell your story.
For sure.
But I want to get into your time with Tampa, man, and changing the scope coach.
Well, for me, it was a blessing to play my entire career in the state of Florida. From Pensacola to Tallahassee to get drafted here in 1995 alongside, Warren Sapp. Man, it was, for me, I know I saw my man, Sapp struggling on draft day as he was slipping when they got him at 12. And I said, like, man, I wonder if Tampa would draft me. Because I never talked to Tampa. But one time, it was just at the Senior Bowl, just a impromptu 5-10 minute meeting that I really never talked to them. So I never knew they were interested in me at all. And so when they drafted, I was actually surprised when hearing it's like, hey, Tampa Bay be making a move to trade up the draft. I'm like, I never talked to Tampa. I never even took a visit there. So we got it, Fred. It was about winning. It was simply that. And I go back to what I said earlier when people, we all root for the underdog and overcome the odds. And very few people root for those that have been in a position to make sure that they stay in that position of being on top. That's pressure, man. And up until that point in time, I never felt the pressure of grown men looking at you as a 21-year-old and you feel the hate in the room when you walk into a defensive meeting room and your name is put there as a starter. And you looking at men in the same defensive room that have been there at that time. I don't know how many years they played, I don't know what they've done, but it's a weird fit. I don't want to call it jealousy. I don't want to call it, I just want to call it weird.
Yeah.
Because you look around and you don't know, like, damn it, if they happy that I'm there, or they hating on me, or are they gonna push me like I pushed those dudes that was ahead of me when I was 14? I end up obviously beating them out and starting, or are they gonna push me like I pushed them? Like I have all these questions going in my mind till one guy walks by, and I'm not gonna say his name because I want to be respectful. He said, hey, Rook, you didn't do a damn thing to deserve to be named a starter. Don't let it get to your head. And I turned and looked at him. I said, by the time this practice over, you'll see why they put me there. And I walked off to the field. Needless to say, by the time we got through the first mini camp practice, I looked at him walking out and I said, hey, it's going to be the same thing tomorrow. And he said, well, I expect it to be. So that to me was my moment coming to Tampa of showing these guys it's all about winning. And then I had a guy that's in front of me, man, had the same dominant attitude. Like, there's no way we coming here for to be losing 10 games. Ain't no way in hell. It's like, ain't no way. So we had to go through that, man, the first couple of years. And right now they got a great documentary out that discusses the journey, raising the flags. But, from the insider's perspective, we had a leader, Hardy Nickerson at that time, who come from Pittsburgh, man, who saw what winning looked like coming from the Steelers. And we were just trying to match his energy of work. He finally had a group of young men and young people in here that was talented enough that was going to do the grind. John Lynch was already here, but he hadn't had a group around him that was pushing towards the same thing. But the change came when, like I said, that first year we had some success and then we fell off. Then in come Coach Dungy. And I always tell the story about, DeCalon, he, says Coach Norvell for his meeting was crazy. Well, mine, Coach Dungy, was really the same. Like, this man never talked about winning. He talked about all these things but winning football games. And I was like, no wonder this dude ain't been no head coach. Man, this guy, he's not. We talking about, does he know we've been losing, man? Man, last time I lost 9 games last year. Man, I lost 9 games in my life.
Yeah.
This guy. So after practice, I go in and I walked up to him towards. I said, Coach Dungy, you mind if I come see you? And tell Coach Dungy, yes, Derrick, I was expecting you to come see me and have a conversation. Really say yes. So we go in, and I say, Coach, you never talked about winning. My meetings before this, you was talking to me about our defense and how you expected me to be Jack Ham and John Lynch was, Donnie Shell and Sapp was Joe Green, like it is Pittsburgh and they win the Super Bowls back then. But you never said that in this meeting with everybody. He said, Derrick, we're going to win because we're going to play the game of life. In the game of life, God doesn't keep score.
But
whoa. He said, that's the game we're going to play. Now, along the way, we're going to win our fair share of football games, how we practice, how we prepare, and how we do things. But we're never going to lose sight of the game we're really playing. And a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, wow. I said, Coach, I got it. He said, and you're going to be a critical piece of that. Just trust me. And I walked out of that room and I said, man, my life and my perspective of how I looked at football changed that day. I started now looking at football as a means to a bigger end, that this game was not the end all, be all. I already knew that from an academic standpoint of making sure I prepare myself for when I don't have the game. So I knew from that standpoint academically, but I necessarily understood it from a life principle standpoint until Coach Dungy gave me that perspective. So from that point on, I started using personally football as a stage that I stand on that open doors and give me a path to where God wants me to go and what he wants me to do in serving people. That's what football started to be to me. And then we put in the work. So, man, Coach Dungy had, 4 words: no excuses, no explanations to everything we do. No excuses, no explanations. So that was our mantra of establishing a stability of how we was going to do work. And you talking about a man's schedule never changed. Hey, you knew what you was doing every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. No matter the weather, no matter the situation, this is what we was going to be doing. And he established that consistency. I remember one time, Tampa being the Lightning King of the world, one of these summers, Brad Culpepper goes up to him, man, and it's getting dark, man, and we see these flashes, and Coach is on the field, and we looking around like, man, we don't know, Coach, man. It's dark, and the only light is lightning, and it's like, we like, man, how many more plays we got, man? We gotta. So Brad Culpepper goes up to him and said, hey, Coach, for those of us who don't know where they're going to go, if they leave this world, could we go inside? For someone like you who knows where he is, you can stay out here. Man, Coach Dungy couldn't hold it, man. He's bust out laughing. Oh my God. That's the only time he broke practice. That is it. Like, other than that, we'd have been out there. So he established that culture of winning for us. But it got us only to a certain point. Obviously, our offensive accountability wasn't there where we needed to be to match us on the talent-wise or defensively. And, they made a change. Mm-hmm. And, looking back on it, I hated the decision at the time, man. I wanted to be traded. I didn't want no parts of Tampa. And typical Coach Dungy, man, in his fashion, help him clean out his offense. He sits there and he sits me down and said, Derrick, stop it. Stop it. You're not going to get traded. You're not going anywhere. You need to get past this decision because everybody's looking how you're going to handle this. There's a Super Bowl team here now that's ready to win a Super Bowl. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be here, but you guys are. So you need to get it together, say everything you're going to say here in this office and move on. And he said, I'm going to be, in the next few days, I'm probably going to be the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. And hopefully we'll get a chance to play each other. But you need to get it together because you're not getting traded and everybody's looking at how you're going to handle this situation. And it's just amazing what type of man he is in the midst of his being most probably disappointing moments in his life that he focuses in on me to make sure my mind's right. So John Gruden comes in, changed the whole terms of how we needed to approach things. He touched us and reached us in a way that Coach Dungy couldn't, especially me. Mm-hmm. I'm always a team guy, that everybody else talk about our successes. I just put in the work, make sure I be a consistent leader and the best teammate I can. Well, that wasn't good enough for John, for me. He, again, tells a story about how, I tell a story how he calls me in his office. I didn't have to go in his office and talk to him about winning at all. Mm-hmm. He came in, hey, we had to win a Super Bowl, man. Anything else y'all talking about, I'm not here for that. I'm just being honest with you. I was brought here to win a Super Bowl, man. They gave $8 million and some draft picks up for me to come here. And I ain't come here for nobody to like me. I came here to win a Super Bowl. You say, you know what, y'all don't have to like me because the world likes me because I'm one of the most 50th beautiful people in the world. Look at the magazine. But it was that brashness, that confidence, man. So he calls me in. He said, Derrick, you need to step your game up. I said, what do you mean, Coach? He said, you need to play like you the baddest MF linebacker and defensive player in the league. And everybody needs to know that when you walk into this city. I'm like, Coach, I'm not a selfish guy, man. Our defense, we're going to show up, we're going to do our thing. And he said, no. He said, man, save all that blah, blah, blah team. Man, I don't want to hear that. I said, Coach, that's not who I am. He said, well, that's who I need you to be more than that. He said, if you do that and take that attitude, the team's going to follow you. He said, yeah, man, they know you're not selfish. They know you all got all their backs. Hell, they know you're going to wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning, they drunk and they need a ride home. They're going to call you. Yeah, they know all that. I don't care anything about that because you're going to do that. What I need you to do is man up and be the best MFing defensive player in the league. That's what I need you to do. Stop being scared. Let it rip. All right. I'm going to start on you in practice today. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So he touched me in a way and challenged me that Coach Dungy could have never done that with me. Mm-hmm. And then he ends it with, and by the way, score touchdowns. I told the defense to score 9. You need to score touchdowns too. He said, as you out there serving the community, I need you to do more of that too. He said, yeah, if you're going to be the best at that. Leave no doubt that you're the best community ambassador that we ever have. I need you to have that mindset in everything that you do. And he just challenged me in a way in my time here. And obviously, people really don't realize that he's a coach I played for the longest. Mm-hmm. For my 14 years here, I played for him the longest. and got a really, really great relationship with him today. He still calls me captain. So anytime that anything with the team, he dealt with me and he expected me to manage the team in a way that kept us winning. And I'm very grateful that Coach came along at that point in my career where he challenged me to do all these things in the best possible way that I could. Because that's when I was, obviously dated my wife for a long time, and then we get married. DeCalon was already born. So everything that he challenged me to be the best at, it was not just on the field. He just needed to use that tool of football to where I was doing everything else, because he knew how I thought about football. It wasn't the end all be all, but he touched that button and it just ignited me, man, to do more and everything. Even today, I go back to Coach Gruden challenged me in a way like, hey, it's a way to go about it. And he said, it's called excellence with humility. There's nothing wrong with being excellent. You have to be. But your personality, you're going about it in the most humble way. And he said he always challenged me to do that. Hey, you being the best, man, are you telling everybody, man, that you're going to knock them out? I say, yeah, Coach, I'm going to bring them down. No, you don't bring them down. You're going to pick the ball off, you're going to score, because the quarterback can't see you. And you tell the quarterback, hey, I'm going to get you again. I was like, man, this dude's something else, man. This dude's something else. But then again, I love his energy, and I love his passion about it. And like I say, it was always fun to talk to him. But that's my time here in Tampa, and that's why I embrace everything about when you were talking about DeCalon. In my mind, I embrace all of that, man. The good times at Florida State, the not so good times, because I had to do that here in Tampa. Mm-hmm. And that was probably some of the times that hurt me the most, with my fellow alumni. Not because my son was on those teams struggling, but I just went through that in Tampa, where our owners didn't embrace our history. Mm-hmm. And it had such a disconnect with the guys that wore the orange and white to the guys that wore the pewter. Well, what about the guys that wore them both, like me? Mm. So this is the first time the owners, in the year of turning 50, that the current owners embrace all the history of the Bucs. And that is what I'm most proud of for Tampa Bay in 2025. The Buccaneers, that their owners, the Glazer family, finally embraced that because it's a part of us. And I used to tell our alumni back then, man, that 19 to 23, those guys, they were being real. Hey, I'm not wrong with you being real. The results are the results. But, man, embrace us. Don't disconnect with us. Mm. Embrace these young men that's going out there, man, that's trying to put in the work if more is needed. And let's embrace them by not comparing them to what we do or what we did. But let's embrace them by, hey, understanding it's going to take a level of this, and you're going to have this support as you guys go through it. Because the times of football has changed. Yeah. DeCalon and I had this discussion the other day when someone asked me, Derrick, if you were playing now with your skill set, how much would you get NIL? I said, I would get a thing, because one, you can't attribute my success back then and it'll automatically transfer to the game today. Coach Bowden wouldn't be the same coach, because we all wouldn't have been there together to grow together. Yeah. I think Corey Fuller said this one time in talking to you. Mm-hmm. You don't know if Corey would have stayed there and fought it out and played versus transferring and going to somewhere else. So that depth that we had built, like me, would I have been looking at a depth chart, 4th team, ready to go fight and work it out to be the starter? Or going to these other schools that just recruited me. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. And it's not a fair comparison. I told you, it's not really a fair comparison. Would Coach Andrews been the same type coach that break you down to build you back up? When I see today coaches trying to show that type of love and commitment, man, these kids gone. Yeah, true. I saw that. Yeah. I'm not going to call out the high school here. I saw that. A kid, I'm leaving here because you said you want to be great. A coach is coaching you to greatness, but you don't like the way he's coaching you to greatness. You leave. I saw that at Florida State doing some times with all 3 coaches, Jimbo, Coach Taggart, Coach Novell, and I'm attending practice. Yep. It's a consequence to It's a consequence to an action that you did or did not do. And you don't want to embrace the consequence because you didn't uphold your end of the deal. Mm-hmm. Okay, you got to run gases. And I told this young man this, you got to run gases. Why are you walking the gases? What point is that going to make? I said, why don't you run the gases because you're honoring the consequence, and look at this, you're getting in better shape than anybody else because ain't nobody else out here running. So maybe that'll help you for those 2 or 3 plays at the end of the game where you're going to be in better shape than everybody else. So your consequence could actually be an asset. Mm-hmm. Won't you spin it around? That young man said, thank you for telling me, Mr. Brooks, that does make sense. But do you think he started running? No. No. And I said, why? He said, because I don't like the coach. You don't like the coach because he enforcing the consequence. Yeah, because he let the other dude slide the other day. He didn't make him run. Wow.
It's crazy.
And to say something on that, like, I'll go back to when during them years we were struggling. Even now when we are struggling. He just talked about embracing during them down times. It was very few alumni, past players that did embrace that. Mm-hmm. And now you seeing a little bit more of the same thing. Mm-hmm. And I get that nobody doesn't like to see doesn't like to see their school losing. Yep. Nobody likes to see piss poor effort. Nobody like to see all that. And you can tell when it's coming from a player's perspective and coming from a place where these are the principles and the foundation and the standards that we set, that Coach Bowden set, and it's not being upheld. Yeah, like you see that, but then there's a lot more that's like they just saying it for they just coming out the ass with it. Like you just saying it because you mad. Like what's the real substance behind it? You know what I mean? And when you think about it, when it's some adversity, history start to repeat itself. When that adversity hit, them real colors show. I remember Coach Kelly telling me one time, it was before camp, my freshman year, and he said that if you do wrong and no other consequence gets your mind right, you know what will? I can't say it because you gotta be ready to show it, but like that freak.
Be yourself, man.
Oh, okay.
Be yourself.
No. I don't want to be respectful. He said if nothing else will, he said that fucking bench will. Mm. And that was one of the most realest statements ever. Mm. So when you have that adversity, that like that bench, it's either going, all right, you either going see it as a challenge and step up and compete, or you're going to complain, or you're going to let those old habits come out and you're going to be out of here, or you're going to stay right there for the rest of your career. So I say all that to say, because that what he said reminded me a lot of that, because man, when you learn to embrace everything, and especially coaches and players, nobody is ever going to compare you, or they shouldn't compare you to old teams or an older player that has some success. But when you look at it, it's like, okay, yeah, this happened. It's a part of me. It's what I went through. Now that we know this happened, let's go ahead and focus on what we gonna do. Don't hide from it. You can't shy away from it, because now like it's on film. It's on camera.
Right. And I use this, Freddie. I say it's fun when all us alumni, we compare. You know, the 2013 team versus 99.
It's good for this. It's good for
it's so fun for us to compare that. It is.
Yeah.
But the bigger thing is for us to, that's fun in that comparison. But the bigger thing is us to stay connected because it's Seminole family. That's the bigger piece.
Yeah.
So when I say embrace everything that these young men are going through, because nothing's going to change them being a part of being an alumni, being here.
Yeah.
Whether you were here for a season or a few months. I mean, one of my best stories, I saw Walter Jones in the spring coming out of junior college and went and watched him practice, and I saw his feet, and I said, oh, he'll be in the NFL by this time next year. He wasn't even Florida State of the year because he got drafted. I mean, I sat there and went, damn, Walter Jones, man. Whew, this the kid from JUCO?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, man, he'll.
Yeah.
I'm going to start paying attention because I'm going to have to see him in about 8 months.
Yeah.
I'm going to be ready. But as far as that comparison, so what about the kid that come here and he transfers and goes to the league? We've had this with Curse, here recently. We had these guys that embrace that. So we got to find a different way to make sure that we stay connected through these comparisons, because these guys are us. And that's not mean we're lowering the standard. That's to say effort's effort. You know what I'm saying? That's as simple as see. You're going to do it or you're not. No, we're not going to never, ever tolerate that, because that wasn't the foundation that Florida State was built on.
Yeah.
But when you get everybody has to be part of it, and you see that disconnect, it's sad.
Yeah.
It was sad for that young man to tell me he wasn't giving his best effort in the consequence because he saw his coaches treat somebody else different with the same consequence. That hurt me. Because now I know it wasn't just the kids, it's the coaches. And if you're the head guy and you're allowing that, it's going to fall back on you. If you're not holding the coaches accountable to hold the kids accountable. Because these young men are seeing every single thing. And we have to go back to that. As hard as it is, we have to go back that. And I know these coaches they're in a tough position. I know this now sitting on the side of the table with my current job at USF. I see it. It is hard. But just because it's hard doesn't mean it's impossible. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It does not mean it's impossible. Yes, you run the risk of a kid, go to the transfer portal and do these things because you don't like to compete. Okay, but it's still somebody out there that would. That do. May not be as talented, may have strengths in other areas. Let's get more of those kids, because those kids win over time. In my book, those kids do win over time. And it was something else that Corey said too, man, that me and him talked about, that he shared with you. He said the team is not made of the superstars. But the most important parts of teams are the people that support. Yeah. Not all about the stars. It's just as big as the supporters. So true to that.
Yeah.
And that is so, so true. And I'm glad you give flowers, because you do get the flowers on your podcast to that supporting cast, because all those guys are needed. I was a support guy my freshman year, running scout team. They knew, man, if I'm back there at safety and there's a play action pass, boy, you better, running back, you get ready. Hey, I'm coming. But I had to earn my stripes, and it was important for me to get the best possible look that I could to make sure the offense, because guess what? In my mind, you're not going to face another player that you playing Saturday that's going to be better than me. And I need to earn my way and earn my keep. So I still think those principles are still there to be coached, even though it's harder. Yeah. Doesn't mean it's impossible.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm a person, like, from your walk-ons to everybody, I understand how much, each piece matters. And even, like you said, the support piece. Like, I'm a person that's I like to have fun. So I'm gonna be on the internet, being crazy when we win it, but I'm a joke when we losing too. It's just but I'm also the person behind the scenes. They know they can hit my line.
Yes.
So I'm not finna be the guy, like, you'll see it you go on Twitter right now, you'll see probably every fan, the sky is falling all year. And it's not me being a fan police, but it's like, no, bro, that season over. Let's rock out and see what we are this season. But that being said, I don't envy these guys today, because the NIL, the transfer portal, my whole edge was because I was a guy that at one point I was homeless. So Am I the same player if you put a paycheck in front of me in college?
No.
Am I? I don't believe so.
No.
You know, I was the guy that got there before everybody, stayed after. If you give me some money, I may not be the same guy anymore.
Yeah, and I said the same thing because when that same conversation we had, I said, you put that opportunity in front of me and my parents have never been exposed to that.
Yeah.
I'm probably I don't know if I'm the same human being either. If you put a gate, I'm the guy that kept my Pell Grant, $786.44.
Yeah.
That check that Pell Grant, I kept that in my book bag, man, and didn't even cash it. Till Coach Andrews saw it fall out. He said, man, wait, like 3 weeks later, he's like, dude, why you cash his check? I said, Coach, I haven't seen a liquor store where I can go cash it at right here. Back then. He said, what?
Sheesh.
He said, what are you talking about? I said, that was my mom and daddy go cash checks at a liquor store. I said, I haven't seen one around here that I can walk to. Mm-hmm. He said, Derrick, you need to go to the bank and cash your check. I said, what bank? He said, that big green thing that says Barnett Bank. I said, what they gonna do? Yeah, this how green I was.
Yeah.
He said, just go in there and ask one of the nice teller ladies that you want to set up an account and cash your check. Mm. And I did. I walked right there to Barnett. It's Bank of America right there on the corner now across from what it is, the restaurant, the Checkers.
Yeah.
That bank right there was Barnett Bank back then. It's Bank of America now. Man, I walked in there and I asked her, I said, could you help me? Coach Andrews told me to come in here and cash this check. And she said, who is Coach Andrews? I said, my coach at Florida State. I thought everybody knew Coach Andrews.
Yeah.
Yeah, he the one that told me to go to Greyhound bus station, charge his card. So the lady sat down and she said, hey, we'll hold your money, and when you need it, I said, what do you do with it at night? She said, it stays here, it never leaves. I say, so what if I need money in the middle of the night? She said, well, that's why you take enough with you and you don't spend it. But we'll hold it here when anything happened to it. You know what, man? I went back to that bank every day for about 3 weeks to see that lady every day on the break after lunch. Hey, before practice, hey, your money's still here, Derrick. That's how green I was.
Yeah.
So, man, because my parents never been exposed. Yeah. Now, in DeCalon's case, obviously, with him, I've been exposed to that. It's a better experience for him during that time. But to your point, I don't even know. Man, somebody offered me, man, ain't no telling what type of person I would have been under those circumstances. I'll honestly sit here and tell you, I don't know if I'm faced with the opportunity to hit those mats as a 4-string linebacker with the mindset that somebody got to move versus going to another institution where they would have told me I would have been that guy. And been the same type person sitting here before you today. No. So I don't envy him, but I'm in this business now. Mm-hmm. You know, in my current job. So I'm never gonna lose sight of that foundation, and I'm gonna even call it old school. I'm gonna say real school principle foundation. Mm-hmm. But yes, it has to be a moving target because we are dealing with different kids.
Mm-hmm. I want to get a few more questions out there before we can get y'all out of here. They'll kill me online if I don't ask about the Super Bowl championship.
No.
So I got it because that's known as one of the best defenses of all time. So walk me through. You know, you told me about the shift with Gruden. Walk me through that game. He ended up challenging you that season. You ended up winning Defensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. Walk me through that game against the Raiders.
Well, man, our Super Bowl was actually won the week before, man. Up in Philadelphia, because Philly had to knock us out of the playoffs 3 years in a row, and we couldn't overcome that hump. And that, to us, everything that I felt, even losing to Philly early in that season, I'm selling out to Trey Thomas at the time, telling him we're going to be back. I'm be back to see you, big fella. And everything was set up because that was our hurdle. So as the season going along, man, we scoring, and yes, I'm having a tremendous year. Our goal was always set when we left there in October, we got to go back to Philly. And that's what it was about for us. And we just came together as a unit. We didn't play a whole lot of defenses that year. We maybe played 3 or 4 defenses, but cover 2 was cover 2, and we made it work, man, every single time. And everybody was doing their thing because we simplified everything so everybody was able to play fast. Everybody was, enjoying their moment. And me as a leader, understanding the type of personality we had at head coach, I had to make sure that everybody's personality had a space on this stage to stand. Whether it was Simeon, whether it was Warren, whether it was Greg Spires, it was John, it was Rondé, Shelton, DJ, Dexter, Dwight, you name it. We all had to, Brian Kelly, everybody had to have a personality, and I just managed that. I did. I really focused on managing those personalities for success. And we had young assistant coaches. Mike Tomlin coming in here. Man, John Lynch was older than him. Joe Barry, my coach, was saying, man, he just me. But we had Rob Marinetta, that consistent old head. Monty Kiffin, man, that energetic old guy that never seen a bad day. And I was blessed, shout out to Monty, 13 of my 14 years playing in the same defense. That is a lot contribute to my success as anything, because I had a consistency of and trust in him. But that year, man, it was special. And got to the Super Bowl, as we fast forward, we had to go out there by ourselves because there was no bye week. That's the last Super Bowl that it wasn't a bye week before. So we got here in Tampa probably about midnight. We had to be back at the airport like 4 a.m. to fly out to San Diego. And coach sends the team out. Like, all the assistant coaches had to stay back and prepare. So he was like, all right, Derrick, you the captain, Simeon Rice, you the head coach for the next 2 days. Make sure you got a bed check. That was it. He said, Simeon, make sure you get bed check. Derrick, you the captain, just make sure everybody make it where they need to be. See y'all in 2 days.
That's a whole lot of trust.
Dang.
So we got out there, but we were so doggone tired, man. We got there that Monday, everybody slept.
Okay.
So the coaches got there Tuesday morning, it was game prep. We had guys go out, do appearances and stuff like that, but man, we didn't want to cause no distraction to one another. So we all got by the rules. So coaches and them get there that Tuesday morning, and Coach Gruden came into that meeting defensively. He said, here are the personalities of this Oakland offense. And he went through them. He told us everything we need to know about everybody. And then when he got back to Rich Gannon, the last one he said was Rich Gannon and Charlie Garner. He said, these two guys, they can beat us. Do not let Rich Gannon manipulate you with all his pocket movement. He said, and Charlie Garner, get on him and stay on him. The more he talk noise, you talk even more. And that's what we did. We took Charlie Garner out of the game, and we did not let Rich Gannon maneuver us, with his movement in the pocket. That's why we was able to pick him off. But we go on, scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl to clinch it was a very, very special moment in time, for me. But one of the biggest parts for me is I don't even know if I had a chance to go to the stands and get my family to come down on the field because I was just so exhausted. I think they got it. My wife, Karen, she probably didn't want no parts of it anyway because the kid was young. She wanted to get back to the hotel. But that was truly, truly special. And, all the things I, can accomplish as a team, man, that was it. But, just special family moments, and to be blessed to be elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame on top of all this to,
Oh, you gave the introduction speech.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was,
Yep.
again, when you talk about, connection moments, the fact that I wanted all the kids to be a part of it in some way, but they all decided they wanted DeCalon to do it.
Okay.
His brothers and sisters like, no, he got it. And for him to be a part of that with me and to see, him around these legends, man, first thing, he get his little tailored tux, what I'm saying?
No,
Thank
facts.
you, G.
No.
He's around all these Hall of Fame guys, but to see, those guys proud of the moment that we had as father and son going through this is one that I never ever forget. The fact that, my son took my jacket off, man, and presented me as something I'm always hold dear.
It's one last question that I would have for both of y'all before we get up out of here. You talked about knowing that there's more than the game of football. Mm-hmm. A lot of athletes struggle with that. For the both of you, what advice would you have for an athlete when they're trying to transition and find their purpose after this game is over with for them?
Go ahead, Calvin.
I just went through this. So for me, like being an undrafted guy, and then drafted 2022, then 2023, 2023, XFL comes around, and then made the team, but then had to come back because I had surgery on my meniscus. Then that following year, not getting like picked up simply off because I just didn't really have any film. And then making that decision to, transition, I would say that it goes back to that word embrace, right? You're going to go through a period of where you're depressed a little bit. You're going to go through a period of asking yourself, why? Like, why did this happen to me? Or like, I've been working hard, and I know all these things happen, but like, God, why are you placing this on me? And especially harder when athletes have it in their mind from when they were raised, and they keep it through college that their sport is the end all be all for them. Mm-hmm. It's not. And it's hard to, I don't want to say let go of something, but to transition to another career and potentially like not playing or not being in your sport, not training for your sport, and being around your teammates like you're used to. So for me, even though I went through those stages of depression and questioning a lot of things, I had to revert back to like, okay, what other things have I done that separated me from football potential? I've done a lot of community work. I used to work with uplifting athletes, had to Live for Life. Alec Everly did that too. And then I was doing a lot of community service with schools, and then working with other athletes on other things. And then I thought back to when Coach Marv always told me, he said, Bo, you gonna be a coach in college one day. I said, Coach, nah, I ain't gonna be in college. And then he said, yeah, you're going to be a coach, but he never specified what type of coach I'm going to be. I always thought he was talking about like being on the X's and O's in the position room. Mm-hmm. I didn't see myself doing that. But then after I decided to stop playing, I look back and I'm like, okay, I always like the training aspect of football, but then that just led me to working with Yo Murphy. Because he's been my trainer since I was a kid. Did my pro day training with him too. So I started working with him, and I just started working with high school athletes to youth athletes. And then when we got to college, I saw college guys they saw how young I was. They started asking me different questions, and I'm answering them. And I found myself more into it and passionate about just training them. And then recently when this past combine group in January, they all seeing me like, bro, how old are you? And I told them, bro, at the time I was 25. They said, yeah, bro, you old, which is crazy, by the way. But they said, nah, you ain't. But they said, nah, but at the same time, bro, you just got done training, like doing this. Like, what made you want to go ahead and get into it? Then I started telling them my story. And when I got on that field, training for the 40, and then the weight room, they started buying in. I started like buying into them too. Like, bro, I just went through this. Why? I'm not going to shortchange them. I'm going to go ahead and give them my all. So I'm like, dang, okay. I need to get back to this. Like, even though I'm not playing ball, I need to get back to this. Yeah. So then I just made a switch to, college strength and conditioning. But I say all that to say that when you reflect, when you take time and sit there and reflect on all the things that you've done away from your sport, that will provide you a clarity or a start to. And then once you start doing another or start being in another career or another job, Then that starts getting the wheels going a little bit. Then it starts something else. Then it starts something else. So you always have to revert back to the things that you did outside your sport. And even then, like, that'd be my biggest advice in terms of the transition period. You're gonna go through it. You're gonna like embrace it. Don't sit there in your sorrow. Think back to everything else that you did outside of your sport, because you're more than your sport. But then when you're in college now, realize this, and it's hard, especially growing up in Florida. Like, we a football state. You already know, like, when you want to win, you come recruit Florida. You ain't got no choice but to recruit Florida. Nowhere else. We got everything down here. But you have to use college as a space to where you meet different people and you realize you're more than your sport. Yeah. You have to, even then, you are not interested in a particular career path or like business or communications, whatever. You're going to meet different people that are in multiple positions along different career paths, to where they're going to be willing to help you out. And that might spark something. Everybody on social media right now, you like to be on TikTok, you like to be on Instagram, you like to post pictures, be on there all the time. Okay. Use that to your advantage. And then it starts something else. Think about how you started back when you was coming up. The training and everything like that. Start getting into that. Yeah. It's different ways that you can get in or back to your sport without actually being in it. You know what I mean? Like, you're in it, but you're not in it just from a playing perspective. It's more careers
outside of the sport than playing on the field that people need to realize. My advice, Fred, that I've shared with people over the years that play the game, especially football, is one, your name is more important than the number.
Facts.
If you get caught up into that number of that organization that you're playing for, and you put that above your name, that is an issue. So let's avoid that identity crisis. Your name is above the number for a reason, because your name is more important. You own your name. The team or the franchise, they own that number. And I say that number 55 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, number 10 for Florida State, they can do whatever they want to do with it. I have no decision on that. They could tell me that number's retired, but if they say today that someone else can wear number 55, what am I going to do? Absolutely nothing. Yeah. But nobody else can have that name because of my kids. That name belonged to me. Can't change that. That number, do what you want to do with it. Respect it. I wore it. I had my time in it. So I tell guys that. Make sure you understand your name is more worth than that number. And don't get your worth of you as an individual tied into this game of football. Thank God Coach Dungy gave me that tidbit about the game of life, because who knows, I searched at everything I was doing at that time with winning. When I said I've never lost 9 games in my life, I was going in a different perspective of what football was. Even though I thought I had football under control, because I always knew academics over athletics. Preach that to all my kids. I had that part. But what was I actually doing in execution? I wasn't. So I try to tell guys that no matter, or ladies, whatever you're playing a sport, your name is bigger than the number that you're wearing. Secondly, and DeCalon hit into this because I hit it into him, network outside of the team. The biggest things that I've been a part of and the biggest influences that I've been able to have on Florida State University is outside of football. All my best and deepest relationships at this university is outside of football. It's because I expanded outside of football. A professor by the name of Dr. Steve McNamara told me that when I was taking one of his classes. He took a liking to me because I was an athlete that made A's in his class. He never saw that. Derrick, you need to network outside your team, because you're going to spend more time with them but the limited time that you spend around us, network outside the team. He challenged me to do that. And that led me to serving on a board of trustees, serving in roles as advisory roles with 3 of our last presidents. Our current board chair, serving on the academic advisory committees. All these committees and service that I serve Florida State outside of football, people don't even know how much time I get at this university that they don't even pay me for. But that's because I networked outside of the team. And those are my deepest relationships. So it opened doors and paths and careers that has really led me down to what I'm doing now, and that's athletic leadership at the University of South Florida. So I always challenge people to do that, and I tell players, hey, find your passion point. Again, he's repeating some of the same things I've told him. Find your passion point and feed into that. And yes, it's okay. It's okay to be emotional about a loss. When you're transitioning to doing something that you've been done, for me to sit here and expect young men and young women to not be emotional about that, that's unrealistic of me. So I never tell someone that, hey, you're going to feel a certain way. And you deserve to, because it's been taken away. When I was fired from the Bucs, I felt the same, like I couldn't believe that they were doing it. But I quickly realized there's other things out here that's more important than that. Like, man, I have an opportunity to work at ESPN. That was a bucket list thing for me. And people want me to do it, so I need to start working. So that started leading to meeting Jeff Vinnick and Todd Lotwick and running the Tampa Bay Storm Arena football, getting into the leadership of the business of football outside of playing. And working for our hockey team. Now, who would ever thought a Pro Football Hall of Famer would be a hockey executive for 15 years?
That's crazy.
With 2 Stanley Cup rings. I got more Stanley Cup rings than Super Bowl rings.
That's crazy.
So I got 2 Stanley Cup rings for being a hockey executive here for the Tampa Bay Lightning and Vinnick Sports Group, but impacting our community. And now, hopefully, I'll be able to say I have a national championship ring from Florida State and the University of South Florida. Only one person that able to do that. Hopefully, it's me.
Yeah,
I'll be 1-on-1.
Speaking
how
of
many
that,
rings
man.
that is? How many rings is that? How many rings is that?
What do you mean?
How many rings is that?
In terms of,
That would be 4. Yeah, 4 rings.
it'd be 2 for hockey.
Oh no, 5.
1 national championship, 1 Super Bowl ring, and hopefully another college one.
He missing the ACC championships, by the way.
He
being modest.
What you talking about USF? I want to wrap up on this because they were a few plays away from potentially being in the college, football playoffs this year. Unfortunately, Coach Golish ended up going to Auburn, but you guys ended up getting one of the hottest coaches in college football, and Coach Hartline. How excited are you about the future of USF football?
Well, I'm excited. I know DeCalon did his internship with Coach Golish and his staff, and so he had a very more intimate, working relationship than he did for me. So when I came on to work, obviously I've been knowing Coach Golish and working with him from the Vinnick Sports Group side of things for the last 3 years. So we're excited that he earned this, this opportunity to, go to Auburn and do his thing. But it's a great foundation that was laid. Freddie, right now we are, in my opinion, the hottest university in the state of Florida and one in the nation. One, we have the most valuable asset in the state of Florida right now that no one else has. A brand new stadium from ground up. We're building that. Brand new football facility we're building from ground up. No other university had that. Everybody is adding on or redoing, which we just did at Florida State. But nobody's doing it from ground up. We are. So how do we pivot that forward and capture this momentum where we're going to be part of the big boy conversations with conference expansion or whatever avenue there is out there for football? We've shown we're ready to make that investment to be part of those conversations. And I think it was a big step with us, the way we kept it very quietly about how we were going and pursuing Coach Hartline. A lot of people didn't know that. So when it was something like, where did that come from? You never know how things be moving behind the scenes. So again, big shout out to Rob Higgins, Will Weatherford, Jay Stroman, Mike Griffin, those 4 guys, Lalo Prada, myself, all of us, being a part of this search, but more importantly, keeping it very close to the vest to get him. And he's excited to come here. We expect him not just only to bring everything that he's learned at Ohio State University, but set his own footsteps and give him all the resources to be successful. That's part of my jobs is to do that and work hand in hand from an athletic leadership standpoint, helping them do it. But yeah, we shocked the world, and hopefully we can keep that momentum going. And I agree with you. We're probably 2 4th down calls away from kicking a field goal, perhaps, of being in the college football playoffs. But we expect to continue that momentum and earn our way into the 2026 college football playoffs.
Yeah, we had Zane Herring on earlier this weekend.
I seen that.
Yeah. He said USF football is here to stay. So we're looking forward to it, man. I appreciate y'all taking the time out of your schedule. I'll keep you updated on when this thing drops, but just the gems that were dropped in this episode, and really you, DeCalon, like you a legend. We know you're a legend, but I think your story, just hearing it from you, because a lot of people don't understand the pressure that you face as being a legacy and fighting through that. And the Brooks last name, the people pulling from you at all directions at all times, may not have your best interests at heart. That's another thing that you got to deal with. And then the adversity at Florida State, the up and downs. But the person that you are today, I see a lot of people in these situations, they pointing the finger at everybody else. Not once this time have I heard you blame it. You embrace it all because it's ultimately a part of your journey.
Right.
So for you to sit down and tell your story, I appreciate you, man, because there's going to be a lot of people. We all have this thing mapped out and we think it's going to go exactly the way that we wanted to go. I thought I was going to have a 15 or 20 year NFL career. It doesn't always work that way. So, and that's ultimately why I created this platform, for underdogs. Everybody wants to hear the rags, the riches story, but what about everybody else?
Right.
So, people like yourself that have overcome adversity and continue to win and be champions in life, I appreciate you, man. And like I said, I'm proud of you. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man. But just being like welcoming and having me on here and starting this, you know what I mean? I pay attention to it, and for all the former players you had on here and all the other guys you had on here, and just being able to tell the story, and it means a lot, man. I want to give you your flowers because you really been successful, and I appreciate that. So,
hey, one thing I'm big on for sure is it's all guys work, because I'm the guy that my voice would crack whenever I was talking in front of an audience, and I like being behind the scenes and this stuff. Even Kent knows, like we connected because I wanted to make another film. And I didn't want to do any of this. I didn't like being on the camera. But when God has a plan, you got to follow it.
Yes,
so
sir.
Ultimately, I'm just walking in his will for my life, man. So
yes,
whatever
sir.
he leads me to, I'm going to continue to do it. But I appreciate y'all.
Triumph.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
go.